Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele and I will be your nerd today and every other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Alright, so today's actually going to be a pretty fast one. I am swamped with pre-deadline work on a project. This video and then the two following, I'm going to devote to specific instances, specific parts of Warzone Eternal, getting us ready for the Kickstarters, which starts in May 2nd. So they're going to be shorter, easier to swallow bites, and we're going to make it happen. We are all feeling very, very confident in the Kickstarter. Everyone on the team is super jazzed about where things are headed. A lot of the fan feedback we've been getting is great. So I think this is going to be a really, really good Kickstarter for us. I just want to really give it all the focus that I believe that it deserves. Before we'll do a quick week in Bryan. It's actually a pretty quick week in Bryan. Work-wise, I already talked about last week how I'm transitioning over to do full-time over at Evil Genius Gaming, plus Warzone, plus fiction work. But aside from that, a little bit of commission painting. That's about it. And sadly, what I'm working on over at EGG, I can't talk about yet. So it's, every week I'm going to look at you and go, I'm working on something cool. That's it. But it is really cool, and I wish I could tell you more. And when I can tell you more, I will. I will share, and it will be amazing. Gaming wise, honestly, other than playing a little bit of some video games, I didn't do any role playing this last week. And one of the things that I did do, which is pretty cool, so for Christmas, my kid got a couple of escape room in a box. He loves doing escape rooms. With both sides of his family, like the real deal thing, way more than I do, honestly. I am not built for escape rooms. I get very frustrated at puzzles that are frustrating for no reason. And I am the kind of person that if you want to try and take the escape room realistically, I look at this little plastic box and it's like, oh, well, there's a key inside the plastic box. I smash the box. I grab it, I stomp on it, I get the key. Obviously, they don't let you do that. They don't want you to do that. The whole time I'm sitting there trying to figure out this marble in a puzzle roly bit, getting more and more frustrated, I just keep thinking to myself, I could get this damn key. I could get it. You don't want me to get it, but I could get it. But either way, Connor really loves them, so we got him a couple of them for Christmas. We got him a werewolf-based one, and then a Walking Dead one. The werewolf-based one said it was a basic difficulty. We actually did that one 6-7 months ago, maybe even longer. And it was fun. You set a timer on your phone, you get out paper and pencils and stuff, and sit around the table, and you figure out all these puzzles. And it's neat. You use every aspect of it. Like, there's even parts of there's clues that are on the box that you might not, it tells you, do not throw anything away, and that's exactly it. It's like, there's like a serial number on the inside, or there's a color that's represented on the back of the package or something. It's really cool. And we had a lot of fun with the first one. We did the werewolf one. We solved it. And it was like we solved with maybe 10 minutes to spare. Like, it was not like this is too easy. It was pretty difficult. And especially with me being an anchor and being frustrated at half the puzzles, but with Connor and my wife Natalie being very big puzzle heads, they did a very good job. And I am there to occasionally come up with something that goes, oh, I think I have it. And that's it. So the werewolf one was a lot of fun, and so this last weekend we decided to go ahead and try the Walking Dead one. Now the werewolf one said it was a basic difficulty. Okay, the Walking Dead one was it said that it was intermediate. It gave it extra half an hour to work on it. To say that we were defeated by this puzzle, I don't know if we were. I mean, yeah, the timer ran out, and we didn't actually finish it the way we were supposed to. But whoever made this particular escape room in a box, um, there are a few leaps of logic. Like, even in the hint book is not helpful. You know, like, there needs to be an answer sheet that if you are absolutely 100% stumped, the hint book does you nothing, because otherwise you're standing there looking at your product going, we can't do anything, and there you have it. Uh, there were a couple of puzzles that the clues were bad. The puzzle itself was so obtuse that, like, I would hazard that the designer would have a hard time explaining how you're supposed to get them done. It was rough. You know, I'm not a puzzle person, so most of the time I look at those puzzles and go, okay. But when my kid and Natalie are both doing the same thing, looking at these puzzles and going, this doesn't make any sense, or the answer's not here, or just, I mean, like, literally, one of the clues was putting your finger in a plastic bottle and trying to feel the bottom of what the shapes that are on the bottom of this bottle are. And, you know, the one person who figured that out has nerve damage, so, you know, she's like, I can't feel anything. Like, it was just, it seemed like they tried real hard for it to be difficult, more difficult than it needed to be at an intermediate level, and to know that there is a third one that's supposed to be the advanced level. Obviously, we're not going to spend money on it. It's because it part of the fun of these escape rooms is as you start piecing things together and as you start solving things and they start to make sense, you get this kind of almost a little bit of rush of, oh, we're doing it. And we got that with the werewolf book, or the werewolf box. The Walking Dead box, we got it at the very beginning, a couple of tiny things, and then everything started to not work and not come together, and there was no forward momentum. So now you're just basically looking at a timer going, well, I guess we got to wait till the next time we can take a hint, and then we'd open the hint book and the hint would be hot garbage. It was just really, really poorly put together. Now, the production value of the box was fantastic. It had a plastic lockbox. It had this cool, like, graduated cylinder in it. I mean, like, they put a lot of time and effort into making the product. I just don't know if they put a lot of time and effort in having people try and solve it before they sent it out, because it was bad. It was bad, and by the end of it, my kid wanted to go upstairs and be, you know, he would rather go to bed at the end of the night than try and finish this box, is how bad it was. So I don't know. If you played The Walking Dead escape room in a box and you guys had no problem with it, leave a comment. Let me know. Be like, oh yeah, hey, you forgot. You know, we overlooked this one clue or whatever, because we were unbelievably frustrated and disappointed with that product. But that's really the only thing I played, you know, to get back on track. That's the only thing I played. Personally wise, feeling good about the new job, feeling good about getting back on my diet, starting to arrange things for future conventions down the road. Found out we are definitely, with Resnova, going to Origins. I'm actually excited for Origins for multiple reasons. One, I haven't been to that show in a couple of years. But also, two, is not only am I going there with Resnova, and it will be right in the middle of the late backer kit for Warzone, so we'll be able to just sign people up right on the spot. But Evil Genius is going to have a booth there, and there's going to be a couple of faces or a couple of people there that are working the booth that I'll be able to put, faces to names and stuff, and actually go get to say hi and introduce myself to my fellow employees and such. So that'll be cool. It's going to be a good show. And then obviously Gen Con and Gamehole and all that stuff coming down the pipe. I think that's really it, because I want to get into the meat of the topic, and that is what we're covering today. So there's been a lot of talk, a lot of chit chat, a lot of back and forth on the. Oh, I do remember what I wanted to say. Is that I forgot. I forgot last. I gotta pull it back up. I forgot on last week's episode to tell you the comment raffle winner from March. I never let you know, but I did write it down in my email, and I just forgot to tell you. So let me pull that up. Email. That is a gentleman by the name of Lord Hamster. I don't know. I'll have to text him and let him know and figure out who he really is. But Lord Hamster on episode 183 was the winner of the March the March comment raffle. So congratulations, Lord Hamster. I will be reaching out to you to get you your comment raffle win. I apologize that I didn't tell you last week, but we'll get you taken care of. Yeah. So okay, now back to the matter at hand. So the next 3 weeks we're going to do chunks of what Warzone Eternal is. We're going to talk about a little bit, get a little more deep dive into the actual system and process itself. And I've been listening to a lot of people who were kind of eavesdropping on the demo, some of the Facebook groups. And one of the things that people have had, I'm not going to say problem with, but a lot of focus on is the action economy system. Basically, the way that models activate in Warzone Eternal. So I wanted to go ahead and spend, 15, 20 minutes specifically talking about how that works. So that way you're a little better armed when you're taking a look at some of the other stuff that we are putting out, or we talk about certain models, what they're capable of, that you'll be able to go ahead and you'll understand that this is the case. All right, so the way this works, the activation sequence in Warzone Eternal, it is back and forth activation. So it's I go, I finish my model, actions goes to you. That's the general the way that it keeps from snowballing just one side and then one side. But there is also reactions that can possibly interrupt or react to your opponent's actions, the things that they're doing, that thereby keeping the player engaged in the game itself. There are a lot of games out there where it'll be like, okay, well, it's your turn, I'm gonna go check my text messages, or I'll run to the bathroom, you let me know how things go, and we did not want that. We wanted to make sure a game that was fast and fun, but also it kept the player paying attention, that there was strategy and tactics involved that weren't just here's my best guy, and my best guy is going to do all the work, or I'm just going to line up, I'm going to make a gun line in the back and you'll just never get to me. We wanted to try to avoid that. We wanted to make between scenario play and the actual fundamental core set of the system itself, we wanted to make sure that Warzone Eternal was a back and forth with some kind of reaction system. There are a lot of games out there. One of the games I was formerly in charge of, Dark Age, that had an on-hold system, which was basically you had set number of actions, and you could spend some of those actions to wait to do an action later on. I'm not a big fan of that, because it is not as, it's like setting a trap, whereas an actual reaction system is more about tactical decision making. An on-hold model basically creates a bubble of the table that is just dangerous. A reaction system, the whole table is potentially dangerous depending on where you move your model, how you move your models, who you move in which order. Do you send people out to try and maybe lay down some suppressing fire to knock out some of those reactions out there? Send out your big tanky guy that can take the hits, take those reactions, and then be like, all right, cool, the way is clear. You literally are bodyguarding for someone else. There's ways. There's ways to make the most out of this system, and I think that's really what's going to end up happening is the game system itself is going to create players that think outside the box as to how they are going to use their actions and reactions. And what I wanted to do is I just wanted to cover the basics. I wanted to tell you and show you how that works in an enclosed environment. So the caveat, of course, being that there are definitely special abilities. There are unit special abilities and scenario abilities that will affect this. You may very well. We've mentioned the operator. Operators are basically specially trained unit troops specially trained units to focus on the scenario at hand. They're there to sabotage the car. They're there to tap into the wiretaps. They're there to specifically protect the cargo. It's basically a regular trooper who's been maybe given a little bit of extra equipment to do so, but primarily they are trained to focus on the mission. And what that does is it lets them actually have extra reaction. There are a couple other special abilities in the game that give extra reactions or allow you to swap reactions around. The leader ability allows you to take a reaction counter off of somebody. There's ways to make more out of the basic system, but I don't want to cover all of that here because that would be an hour-long video talking about all these corner cases and all these individual units and the guy, the Nephirite with telepathic command, he can do his leader anywhere. There's all these things that we can that modify the core rules, but at its core, that I want to talk about how the action system works. So the way it works is when you activate a model, when you activate an initial guy. Hello, I am Blood Beret Trooper. Check out my beret. I'm a gray beret trooper. That model gets 2 actions and a reposition. And what that means is those 2 actions can be shoot, move, shoot, stab, charge, or shoot then charge. There's all kinds of specific little individual actions. You could interact. You can interact with an objective or a device. Some scenarios might be like there are 10 bombs on the field. Whichever side disarm, or the side of light needs to disarm 7 out of the 10. In order to disarm a bomb, you have to make an interact action while in base contact with it. There's all kinds of things you can do as far as what the actions are, but at their core, you're looking at move, charge, strike, shoot, rally, interact. That's about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's about it. And you can do those in any order. You can do it doesn't matter. Shoot, run, shoot, whatever. Reposition is basically a bonus action that you get, that every model gets. They can take before or after any action that they do. So you can start your turn off taking a reposition. You could move and then reposition. You could shoot and then reposition, or move out, shoot, and then reposition. What reposition is that it's a 2-inch move. Basically, you get to move your guy an additional 2 inches, so long as you end that reposition touching terrain. And what that represents is basically like a baseball slide into turf, into the like that last minute dive into a trench, where you tuck up against a wall, anything like that. So what that reposition does is that it gives you a little more flexibility with every single model in the game, but it doesn't just give you, suddenly you've got a model that, scale wise is running, 800 feet in 1 second. It's just a little bit of extra, and you have to make sure that you end touching that terrain. Now, where this is people have started already in the demos and stuff have figured this out, is repositioning. You can be used while you're touching terrain too. So you could basically kind of slide along a wall, or like you're already down in a trench, you could slide along the edge of the trench using that reposition, to give you maybe a little better angle, so you're not quite getting all the cover on a target. Or I mentioned the move shoot reposition. You could move out of cover. You're like move out from behind a wall, take a bunch of shots, and then if you didn't move too far, reposition back behind that wall. You don't have to necessarily stop when you touch terrain. It's just a 2-inch move. So it is the use of reposition can be dramatically tactical when you start actually playing the game. So that is how that's a model's turn. When a model takes its turn, it gets 2 actions and a reposition. When that happens, they get an activated token. Now, keep in mind, so these wonderful little demo tokens given to us by Muse on Minis. We are going to make some different tokens, and some tokens that are specifically kind of Warzone themed. But these are the ones we've been using in the demos, and they're really easy to see on the board when you're showing people how to play. So that way, there's no question: did that guy go? Did that guy not go? Oh, I forgot. He already reacted. We've been using these tokens, these bright neon tokens, because they're really easy to see, especially on camera. But during the Kickstarter, we'll be revealing completely different set of tokens that's a little more thematic in feel. So yeah, when you go to activate a model, you go and you give them an activated token. Boop. You give him an activated token, and that gives him his 2 actions plus reposition, at which he can go ahead and begin his spiel, doing his things. The other thing that a model gets to get during the turn, potentially, is a reaction token. Now, a reaction token, when you give this to the model, they can react in a few different ways. There are 4 ways that you'll probably use the reaction most of the time, and a couple of them more than others. The number one, the one that you'll probably see get used the most, is called dive for cover. If I go to take a shot at specifically a ranged attack at an opponent, if they do not have a reaction token, they can be given a reaction token to dive for cover. And all dive for cover adds 2 to your armor. It just basically makes you a little harder to hurt. It's very simple. There's no test. It's all right. Whoop, there you go. I did it. Now, the reason why this is a big deal is because once you've given that model a reaction token, they can't react anymore. So if they dive for cover, they don't get to do any other kind of reaction. If they if they've already done a different kind of reaction, they don't get to dive for cover. So you're left with a quandary of what exactly am I going to do with this reaction, or what am I going to do in order to react to my opponent? So dive for cover, that's the first one. So when you are shot at, you can choose to dive for cover. When you are shot at or attacked with a strike, with a close combat action, you can choose to go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to live through this. Whether they miss, whether they hit you and don't hurt you, whether you've got a bazillion wounds and you're like, I don't care. If you survive the attack that has been targeting you, you can choose to put a reaction token on your model and counterattack. Obviously, if it's you were shot, then your counterattack is going to be with a gun in exchange. You're going to shoot back. If someone goes to swing a weapon at you, more than likely your counterattack is going to be with your own close combat weapon. Obviously, there are corner cases, but basically, as long as you spend your reaction, so spending it gives the model a react token. When you give that model that react token, then they get to counterattack, and the counterattack has to target the person who attacked you. So you don't get to be like, oh, I took the shot here, I'm gonna go attack, I'm gonna go shoot that other guy over there. It doesn't work that way. You have to. You are attacking the person who just didn't kill you. Gives you a reaction token. The third and probably the most tactically powerful reaction is called an ambush. An ambush is not only do you put a reaction token on a model, but you also have to put their action token. So a model, in order to ambush, cannot have reacted, and also it's going to take their action for the turn. So if they've already acted this turn, all they could do is counterattack, all they could do is die for cover. They're not going to get a chance to do the ambush. Just like if you do ambush somebody, then they're not going to get their regular actions because they took their action kind of outer turn in an effort to interrupt somebody else. Because an ambush reaction interrupts someone else's movement. And so the way this works is basically you can say, all right, the guy starts his movement action. You can go, as soon as he gets out into the alley, I'm going to go ahead and ambush him. Or we want to make sure that we're not creating situations where people can be jerks to each other. Like you turn around to take a drink of your soda and your opponent's moved 5 models and you go, what? Moved his model and he's no longer a viable option. Please don't play that way. In fact, the rule book is probably going to say specifically an ambush can have you back up that dude a half an inch or so and say, when you're in the clear, I'm going to take a shot at you. Ambushes are big. Now, the reason why they're so big is because, again, you're using up your reaction and that turn's action in order to try and interrupt somebody. This can be huge because you could interrupt someone's movement and, obviously you could kill them on their turn. That's always an option. But you could also, depending on the gun you're hitting at, depending on the armor saves, you could pin them. You could basically make them so they can't get any closer to you. Which could dramatically change the rest of their action. If they survive, now suddenly they're not running towards you; they're running away, or running laterally. They're having to seek cover. Someone comes to charge you. They come flying out of cover, and you're like, I ambush the guy before he gets a chance. Before he gets in a striking range, I shoot the crap out of him, and you pin him. Then he's stuck. You basically pinned him down with your fire. So that's so ambush is a very, very tactically sound reaction, but since it takes your model's action too, it's also the one that your opponent can gauge on. Your opponent can basically look to see which models have already activated. He knows this area is a little more safe because those guys have already laid down their fire for the turn. That's where the tactical flexibility of these reactions come into play. It is no secret. You don't get to gotcha somebody and go, haha, this guy can react twice, unless they don't know your army. Then that's kind of on you you should have said, oh, this guy can have an extra reaction token or something like that, or oh, this guy hidden back here, he hasn't activated yet. Everything should be on the table. They should know what's going on. But that's if they see a bunch of guys that already have their activated tokens, they know that no one's going to ambush them. So you could run right past them. You could charge them. You could shoot at them. And yeah, they might be able to go ahead and counterattack back if they live. But at least that way you're getting to where you're going to go. Or if you're terrified of them shooting back, you don't shoot them. Spend your actions to get in a better position. Move, reposition. Get to that objective. Use that opportunity where this lane of fire is now open to get that close combat guy right up in his grill for next turn. That's the beauty of the action reaction system. There are other games out there that have reaction systems, um, but we wanted to make sure that this was unique in how it feels, in the way that not you don't get very many models that can you get very few models that can react more than once a turn. Most of the time it's going to be very easy to look at a person's battlefield and go, okay, tactically, if I do this, he can do this. If I do this, he can do this, or he can do this. They might be able to, create a situation where you've got to make some decisions, both as the person acting and the person reacting, because let's say, for instance, you got that guy there that maybe he's already activated. He's already activated. He's already ran up. He took his shots. He's in a good position. And then someone comes out and takes a shot at him. Let's say he's super important. I really don't want this guy to die, but the person shooting at him is kind of a bad shot. It's an undead legionary. They're garbage with their gun. So I decide not to dive for cover because I'm pretty sure you're gonna miss. And then that's the turn that the undead legionnaire gets that crit, and I get gacked. There's nothing I can do about that. It is what it is. But let's say the probability goes the way it's supposed to. Undead legionnaire takes a shot. It goes wide. I go ahead and spend. I've already activated. I go ahead and spend my reaction to take that shot back at that undead legionnaire, hopefully taking him out. That's kind of where the strategy behind when do you react, when don't you react. Maybe you've got a guy who my enemy. I know that he's more or less trying to kite me into spending all my reactions. So I go, all right, bring it on, whatever. And then the end of the turn, he doesn't do anything else to cause my reactions to happen. Then I wasted my opportunity. These are the questions that you've got to answer yourself. It's why during a good game you might have everybody runs around on their own. Everybody can be their own superhero. R.I.P. Trencher Dave. Everybody can be their own hero, but sometimes it's nice to run around in little fire teams. Little 1, 2s, and 3, or little 2s and 3s, because it gives somebody who can literally lay down some suppressing fire for your guy to run up. It's the tactic of having a shooty guy and a close combat guy next to each other. That Free Marine and that Sunset Striker, they're running up together because that Free Marine's going to lay down the fire and maybe pin some people, or maybe try and provoke some of those reactions or some of those ambushes, in order to get that Sunset Striker even closer and up there, so he can start doing his sword play. That's the thing. Or the opposite. You have that Sunset Striker run out there and become suddenly a very very real credible threat, and get the opponent to throw down a bunch of those ambush, stop him, and then the Free Marine can duck out and take all these shots, knowing that nobody can counterattack back because they've already taken all of their reactions trying to stop the Sunset Striker. This is the tactical flexibility of the game. The special abilities, the models, and the stats, and all that stuff plays into it as well. But the action and reaction economy is probably, in my opinion, the biggest thing that you've got to keep rolling around in your head while you play, because it's the fastest thing that you could just I'll take a shot back, and then suddenly this big monster comes flying out of hiding, and you're like, man, I wish I could ambush that guy, or I really wish I had the extra action to take the shots, but I tried to stop him early. It wasn't a good idea. These are the flexible benefits of this system. Then there's other ways to spend reactions too. You might have some reactions built into some of your special abilities. One of the other reactions is if you are engaged in close combat, so like someone is butted up against you, and they move away, they take a move action to break away from combat, you can go ahead and spend a reaction to get a parting blow, where you can basically get a swing on them, and if they survive, they get away. Where things, one of the stipulations that I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the game, where we didn't want someone just to create a gun line and be like, okay, move out of cover, and then have 40 people react and shoot. You can still only have one model react at any given time to one action. So even if you've got 3 guys lined up, they can look down the alley. They all have none of them have activated, so they all have the ability to go ahead and ambush. And one guy, an important model, walks out into the he spends his action to move across the alley. His action is his far enough worth of move to take him all the way from out of sight to out of sight. One of those 3 guys looking down the alley can go, I'm going to ambush him as soon as he gets out of cover. I'm going to take a shot. Takes the shot, misses, goes wide, whatever. He then continues his action. The other 2 cannot say, oh, well, now it's my turn to take a shot. I'm going to interrupt him too. Doesn't work that way. We wanted to make sure that the gun line reaction, the pile of reaction style, doesn't work either. You have to basically let him, if he survives the reaction, if he survives one person's ambush, then he gets to finish out the rest of his finish out that action. Now let's change that scenario a little bit. So in that case, 3 guys, 1 guy ambushes, he misses. The other 2 guys don't get to do anything because he finishes his that movement action outside of line of sight. No longer a valid target, nothing to do. Now let's change that. We'll widen the alley a little bit, where it's going to take him 1 movement action to get about halfway, and then another movement action to get all the way across. Those same 3 guys are watching the alley. Takes that first action. One of the guys in the alley goes, as soon as he gets in the clear, I'm taking the ambush shot at him. Same thing happens. Swing and a miss. Meow. Guy gets to the middle. Now, if he chose to end his activation completely, just like, I'm done. So it's all good. Everything's there. He's done. He stops. But if he goes, now I move the rest of the way out of the alley, or I reposition to the other side of the alley, that's when one of those other 2 guys that are available to ambush can go, all right, as soon as he starts that next action, I will go ahead and, before he gets into cover, I'm going to take the shot. Then kill, miss hit or whatever, that 3rd guy is not going to get to react at all, because one way or another, either the dude's dead or he gets out of line of sight, similar to the first example. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, because I don't want to. I consider and talk about the power of the action economy, the action reaction system all day long, come with all kinds of corner cases and things, and tell you all kinds of special abilities. I would rather you wait to hear what things like tactical and paired units and okay, I'm not gonna. I was about to spoil a special ability, but we're not going to. But yeah, so like there's ways to make even more out of the action economy and the action reaction system, but at its core, that's really what you get to do: duck for cover, counterattack, or ambush. Occasionally make a parting blow. That's really it. And there are other systems, other miniature game systems out there that some of which we've been compared to, and I wanted to make this explicitly clear, is our action reaction system is unique. We designed it specifically to patch the holes that we believe we saw in other systems' action reactions. You are not going to see one model take 10 reactions in this game. You are not going to see a gun line of 5 people all reacting to the one person running down, running out into the open. You're not going to see a group of 5 people surrounding someone, and if that person, or 4 people surrounding that someone, and when that person flees, all of them go, all right, we just pile on and kill him. That we wanted to have reactions be important, a limited resource, but also not necessarily be completely stymieing to your opponent, because there's nothing that sucks worse than when you're playing a game and your opponent basically just turtles up and goes, all right, whatever you do, I'm going to react to. Yeah. We didn't want that. We wanted a back and forth. We wanted a touch and go. We wanted flexibility and tactics and strategy built into the game, not just I can build a force with more models, therefore more reactions, or I can build a force that has the best line of sight weapon and feed all my reactions to them. You also don't get, core rules. Nobody gets to activate more than once. So if I do my ambush, I'm choosing to not take as many actions as I could, to take tactical actions when I can. That is going to be the beauty of this system, and I do believe that as people start to play, and as people start to get some of the new units and some of the special abilities, and see some of the scenarios, I think people are really going to figure out that we've baked in at the very core element of this game, we've baked in a system that makes you stay on your toes, but it's not so difficult to understand that you have to you have to whip out your calculator to figure out how many reactions you actually can take each turn. Not to pat myself on the back, but it really is an elegant system, and I think people are really, I can't wait for people to start to play it, and for me to be in places where I can watch people play when they go, oh, or they have that moment where they made the choice and it was the wrong choice. I'm going to go ahead and duck for cover. Well, you missed. I could have shot back. That's the kind of thing. That's what we want out of the system. Again, at the end of the day, we want a fun, fair system, but fun is the capital, bold, italics, underline that we want. We want someone to have a good time. And for everyone on the Resnova team, we're all gamers. We all play games a lot, and we've been on the receiving end of unfun armies, of unfun systems. And we wanted to make sure that our system at its core tried to do its best to not lean into that, to not feed into that kind of min-max monster. So I hope I'm pretty confident that we did a good job. And playtesters seem to be happy with it. Demo people seem to be happy with it. And very, very soon, hopefully, you will be also happy with it. If you have any questions about the action reaction system, put them in the comments. I will be answering comments pretty well constantly. I always do anyway, but I will go further into detail to the best I can. Also, let me know. There's 2 more episodes before the Kickstarter. Leave in the comments if there's anything specific about Warzone Eternal that you would like me to talk about. That you'd like to one of these short episodes. If you would like me, it's just not really that short now that I looked at the timer. That you would like me to talk about, to expand upon, and maybe discuss. And we're gonna make the best of this, and we're gonna get everybody ready and pumped for the Kickstarter on May 2nd. The link to go ahead and add yourself to the Kickstarter reminder page is on this video. Please, 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 welcome to the Warzone, and join up. I think it's going to be I think this is going to be a big thing. I think it's gonna do really well, and I believe there's going to be a lot of people out there that give it a try, and they fall in love. I know that's my opinion, and I'm biased, but that's okay. So, without further ado, please be safe. Get vaccinated. Get boosted. Wear a mask in places where you feel you have to. Just try to have a a nice safe time out there. But leave every room a little happier than when you got there, and play some games. See you next week.